Teaching Christian Basics, episode, volume, lesson 17, the seventh commandment, you shall not steal. The seventh, just like the fifth commandment protects our life, and then the sixth commandment, the very next thing, our marriage and family, now the seventh commandment protects the next thing, which is our stuff. It's incredible that the Lord gives us the privilege of putting our name on things, and that's what the seventh commandment does. It protects the gifts, the gift of private property, of owning things, of trade, of having stuff to sell and so forth, of having money. And that's okay, says the Lord. If it wasn't okay to have private property, then the Lord wouldn't protect the private property by saying you shall not steal. But we want to remember that we have seventh commandment stuff for the sake of the fifth and sixth commandment. So we're not just trying to hoard up all the junk we can in this life. We're trying to, the Lord gives us stuff for the sake of our children and our families and our life. That's why we have things. So that's the first thing to remember. Now, it is an interesting thing with the seventh commandment to consider, in a way, how the devil can attack the commandments. There's like three levels of attack on the commandments. There's the first level, which is just the temptation to sin. Like to take something that doesn't belong to me, to go and grab that thing that's my neighbor's and take it. And this can happen actively or passively. I can even like the most common theft is when we're supposed to be working and we're just sitting around lazy, not doing anything. That's that in a profound way is stealing. We're stealing time that we owe to our boss by not doing anything. So that's maybe a really common theft. There's stealing music and all this sort of thing. Like apparently I got a copyright strike on one of my videos. I think that means I was a thief. Didn't even know it. Now, so that's a base level, just to take something that's not yours. And we want to avoid that. It's kind of gross outward sin. But then there's another way that the devil attacks the commandments, and it's by attacking the institution that the commandment is protecting. So think about it like this. If there's no such thing as private property, then how can there be theft? So there's a way that the devil will attack the institution with the idea of bringing about a utopia. If, for example, we're communist, where nobody has any private property, or socialist, where the means of production is owned by the government, then there's no theft because there's no property. And the devil tempts us to think that if there's no institutions, then there's no sin against the institutions. Like, how do you honor your father and mother if you don't have father and mother? If you don't know who your parents are? Or how do you commit adultery if there's no marriage? Or how do you murder if there's no such thing as life? And so the devil can attack the institutions and bring about this sort of false utopia by destroying the institution that's being protected. And the seventh commandment is definitely one of the ways that happens. We're now living in these great ages, the last couple hundred years, where collectivism is tempting us, and it gives the illusion of, hey, there'll be no theft if there's no property. We want to go back though to the seventh commandment, which says you shall not steal, which recognizes that the Lord gives to the family, to the individual, the privilege of private property. Now we like to identify the vice and the virtue with each of the commandments. In the sixth commandment, the vice is sexual immorality and the virtue is chastity. In the seventh commandment, we probably have to identify two vices. And they are, on the one hand, the chief vice of the seventh commandment is greed, wanting and just simply trying to acquire more and more and more. The other vice of the seventh commandment is laziness, unwillingness to work, wanting just to have everything handed to you. So you have greed and laziness as the sort of twin vices of the seventh commandment. But there is a virtue of the seventh commandment, which is what we really want to shoot for, and that is generosity. That we want to work hard to make money so that we can be generous and serve and bless our family and our neighbor and those people who are in need. So the seventh commandment then sets us in this life to work and to share and to give and to bless. We should fear and love God. So we want to seek to take our neighbor's money or possessions, but rather we want to help and benefit him in keeping and even growing those things that he has. So that's the seventh commandment, teaching Christian basics, lesson 17.